Tyra, and I am back with another video. As you can see by the title, I'm going to be showing you guys how I achieved this cute bob. As y'all can see, it's cute. It's not really, it's a cute like blunt cut type situation. So if you want to know how I did this, keep watching. Alright, so first things first, so it's time to wash. This is the shampoo I used from Pantene, and it smells so good. So what I like to do is rinse it first and then just kind of like squeeze the shampoo and let it, do its thing. Definitely when you wash it, please make sure that you wash it thoroughly. Since this was an old wig that I had installed before, I definitely wanted to get like all the old, the old glue and everything out the wig. You want to make sure that all of it is out, especially if you want to reinstall it. This part is definitely optional. Not everybody wants to do this, but I know I do it just to make sure I get get my shampoo thoroughly in there, all the way through. Just take a comb, just comb right through it real quick, just to make sure that all of it is in there. Make sure you scrub really good to get all of it out. So this part is really self-explanatory. You just want to make sure when you're rinsing it, you don't want to leave any like shampoo still in the wig. So just make sure when you rinse it really good. And this is a very important part, y'all. It's time to condition the hair. So this is the conditioner that I'm using. And y'all look, why did it come out like this? Like, whoa. Well, y'all, make sure when y'all do your conditioner, work it in thoroughly. Please do not rush this, this part of the process, because we want to make sure that once we rinse out the conditioner, you know how like when you condition like your natural hair, it's the same old thing. Like when you condition a wig, you want to make sure that you work it thoroughly, so that way your hair is nice and bouncy, nice and flowy, and it's conditioned and it's moisturized properly. To be honest with you, y'all, I was kind of skeptical using Pantene when it came down to this wig, because I never used Pantene as far as wigs before. I always used like other brands, but to be honest with y'all, this actually wasn't bad. It was not bad at all, and it smelled so good, so good. Alright, y'all, so next I want to set the wig inside of the shower cap. Normally I would use like a regular like store-bought plastic bag, but since I didn't have one on hand, I know, right? Since I didn't have one on hand, I just used this. I just made it do what it do. I folded it nice and tight, nice and snug, so that way it can sit for a little bit and then it can marinate so we can rinse it out. So I want to say at least about 10-15 minutes later, the wig was completely done. It was good and marinated, and it was time to rinse. So just like how we rinsed our hair before, we're just gonna do that same thing, making sure that all the conditioner this time, making sure all the conditioner is out completely, because you don't want to, like, let's say if you want to air dry or blow dry your hair and it still have conditioner in it, that it will be the worst thing you could possibly do. So just when you rinse, even your shampoo, your whatever, when rinsing, make sure you rinse all of it out correctly and make sure it's all the way out, because you don't want to leave no extra product still in the hair. So make sure you take your time with this part. Alright, so here I am again, back at it with that same comb. So I'm just like working out as I'm seeing like kind of like kinks and stuff in the wig. So I'm just using that same exact comb that I used before to kind of like comb it out as I go. So sometimes they may happen, it's fine, it's not the end of the world, just comb it out. You're good to go. So our wig is nice and clean, as y'all can see. It's still wet, but I'm gonna let it air dry and then I'm gonna blow dry it later. Alright, so after I let it air dry overnight, I'm gonna go ahead and blow it out with my Infinity Pro blow dryer, the brush one. This one is actually good. I love using it on my natural hair, but this is my first time using it on like a wig, so far it wasn't like too bad, but I love it on my natural hair, because if you have thick hair like me, sometimes blow drying can be like really draining. Like it really could be a workout. But as you can see here, I just took off the top because I think it's just easier to do it like that and just use my wig brush to blow dry it closer, because I don't know, it was just kind of like, it wasn't really working. Maybe it was just the way I was doing it, but I think this way is much better. But I'm glad I was able to take the top off, as y'all can see, to use my wig brush instead. Alright, so now that she's fully dry, I'm going to take my wide tooth comb and I'm going to just comb it a little. You really don't have to do this step, but I just do it, you know, just to do it. Just to comb it right before I press everything out. Y'all, that wig stand was getting on my nerves because every time I went to go do something, it was wobbling, but I probably should have opened it all the way at the bottom. But here is what she's looking like so far. I love the way it smells. I love the way it feels. It's nice and soft like how it was when I first bought it. And now it's time to press it out. So during this part, y'all, I'm going to use my Affinity Pro flat irons. And I'm going to put it on 350 to press it out really good. As y'all can see, this thing kept moving. Like, I probably should have just opened it all the way, like all the way at the bottom. But it's really like the same way like how you would straighten your natural hair. Basically, you just take a section out and you just take your time to really get, you know, to the base of the wig, you know, as close as you can, so that you can press it out really good. And as y'all can see towards the end, I kind of like bumped it just a little because I still want to give it like that blunt cut effect, but I didn't want like the jagged ends, if y'all know what I'm talking about. But I did have to go back and like clean up those, you know, my edges at the bottom. I did have to go back and use my shears, but some of the ends was kind of like, you know, a mess. But it's basically the same way you would, like how you would press out your natural hair. It's the same way. You just get a section and you press it out. And when y'all see this part, don't clown me in the comments, y'all. I don't know why I thought I could flat iron it like with my hand placed like that. Like, what was I thinking? But I got myself together and just pressed it out like how I was doing the whole entire time. Because sometimes when you pressing it out, like, you can get tired, especially if like it's a long wig. But thank God it's just a bob. But I would have been like drained after a while. But you know, since I really needed this done right away, I just kept going, kept moving, and I just didn't stop. I just kept going. Wanted to mention this, definitely when you're working on like the top of like the wig, if it's like a straight style, you definitely want to separate. Let's say if it's like a closure, I know that helps me, so that way I can like definitely focus on the top, because you want that part to be like your flattest part, definitely your flattest part. You don't want that to be all like weird. But thank God this came out so cute and I'm so excited about it. And now it's time to definitely hot comb that top. So I'm gonna use my She Is Bomb wax stick to hot comb that top. So I'm just gonna place that wax, not too much, y'all. Please do not be heavy-handed with this wax. I'm gonna just place it right on top, right directly on top, and just use my hot comb to press out, you know, my sides of the wig, you know, different like strands. And then with the wax stick, y'all, I thank God. I don't know who made the wax stick, I don't know, but thank God for you, okay? Because especially if you want to like lay down those like little flyaways in your wig, the wax stick definitely helps y'all. So definitely at the top, as y'all can see, it is like flat, because I was not playing about that. I definitely needed that top to be flat. And that was pretty much it as far as like pressing it out at the top, because you definitely want that super flat. So now it's time to apply her. So y'all see me and y'all gonna laugh at my braids. Please don't. Y'all gonna look at my braids and be like, girl, what was you thinking? Alright, y'all, so now y'all done laughing. I actually did these braids like a week and a few days ago. And I only did that just to save me extra steps. That way I can just put this on, but it's getting ready to be hidden anyway, so it's it's not really that big of a deal because it's still solid. But onto the cap. So I normally wouldn't use this color, but this is the only cap I had on hand. But I'm going to show y'all on the screen exactly the cap I normally use. I love this brand Dream Lover from Amazon as far as wig caps, but since I didn't have any extra, I just used what I had instead. But y'all going to see me tint the cap later on in the video. So right now what y'all see me doing is using my shears to slightly cut a little hole on both sides of the wig cap. Please, when you do this, do not, and I repeat, do not cut your ear, because sometimes, well, not me personally, but I heard some stories, okay, when they do this part and then they end up cutting themselves, or you know, end up hurting themselves because they're rushing. So take your time so you won't hurt yourself, girl. Take your time. So for the wig, since it is a closure wig, I'm just going to use my needle to sew around just the perimeter that I'm going to be using, like where the lace will normally be as far as the wig, where I'm actually going to attach it, because you're not going to need all of that cap if it's just a closure wig. Now a frontal wig, you're going to need it, so normally I would sew in the back, like where my braids are in the back, but since it's not that, I'm just going to sew around the perimeter of basically the shape of my closure. So when you do your knots, please make sure that you knot it like really good, because you don't want it too small because it's going to come right through. So you want to like knot it like twice, 3 times, you know, do what you got to do so that way it's good to go. So right now I'm just going to basically use my fingers to kind of like map out where I want to start sewing, because I'm not going to need all this cap, y'all. I'm just going to need like the certain area, you know, for my closure. So I'm just going to start sewing. I already mapped it out, and I'm going to just begin sewing down, making sure you don't stab yourself in the head. If you know how to sew, good for you. If you don't, bad for you. Because I don't want you to stab your head trying to do this, y'all. I want y'all to take your time. If y'all want like a more detailed type of tutorial as far as the cap and all that, let me know in the comments, because I will definitely help you out. Alright, so here is where I'm basically almost done sewing down my cap. And I pricked myself a few times, y'all. So if y'all doing this, please be careful. Be very careful, or it's gonna hurt. So right here, I'm done. I'm just gonna cut off that extra thread, and I'm going to knot it like at least a good, I want to say like 3 or 4 times I did it. But you doing it that way so that way it won't, like, you know, loosen up or whatever. Like, you want to make sure it's nice and secure. So I would say do it at least like 3 or 4 times, like knot it really good, and then cut off that extra. Alright, now it's time to use everyone's favorite hair product. It's time to use that Got2b, that freeze spray, and I just kind of like sprayed it little by little and used my finger to rub it in to melt this cap down. So I did this about, I want to say like a good 2 times. I did it twice, yeah. Definitely did it twice. I used my blow dryer, took that top off again to blow it down. Make sure it's dry completely. When you do it the first time, y'all, make sure that it's dry completely and it's not like still wet. You want that thing to be completely dry. My shoulder was even hurting after a while, but I'm like, you know what, let me just persevere. Because this is going to be a workout. I already knew it, but it was still cute though. So while I'm waiting for this to dry, I was just on YouTube. I started looking at me and my sister's YouTube channel, Yanni and Sha. So if you haven't seen our newest video, go check that out, y'all. It's hilarious. So as y'all see right now, we're just doing like another layer of freeze spray. Freeze spray is really cold, so I was just doing it like little by little, using my finger to rub it in and blow drying it. Now it's time to tint my cap. I'm going to use Fit Me foundation from Maybelline. I'm going to use it in the color 360. That's my shade, and I'm going to add it to my cap. Normally I wouldn't have to do this step if I'm using that brown cap I showed y'all in the beginning, but since I don't have any more of those, I'm gonna have to do what I have to do, right? So that's what I'm gonna do. And as y'all can see, look at what I did, y'all. I was supposed to sew, you know, like even. I was supposed to sew on the next braid over, like, but since I was rushing trying to do this, y'all, I skipped the whole braid, but it's cool because it's getting ready to be hidden anyway. So now you don't have to do this part, but I like doing it just so when it's time to cut my cap, I don't want to cut too much or too less. So you definitely want to try on your wig to to make sure that it, you know, you cut enough cap. So as y'all can see, I'm just trying on my wig. I'm cutting the cap, making like a little slit so that way I know like where to start cutting, you know, where to start cutting cap off. So right here is just a closer look of the cut that I made with my shears. So now we can just take the wig off and start to cut the cap off. Now for this process, y'all, for this step, you definitely want to take your time because you definitely want to make sure that when you cut your cap, you get as close to your skin as possible without cutting yourself. So that's kind of tricky because when I first started doing this, I was kind of like, you know, jacking up my cap. But now that I have it pretty much down pat, it's pretty much easy now. So definitely when you do this part, take your time. So now we're just cutting off the excess cap and we're going to get to going. So now I'm going to take some more freeze spray and I'm going to spray my edges down just to lay them, you know, more flatter. Since these braids are old, you know, they're like a week old, so, you know, my edges kind of like was looking a little rough. But I'm just going to take some freeze spray just to lay it down so that way it can be super flat in the front. And I'm going to do that on both sides of my cap. So just like how I did for my cap, I'm going to blow dry it, you know, on the sides. Make sure it's nice and dry so that way it could be nice and flat on both sides. And I'll be good to go. And now it's time to move on to our last and our final step. So I'm going to just pop my wig on and I'm just going to kind of slide it back and pin it back for now. This is the glue I'll be using. I'll be using Ghost Spine just to apply my wig and also a popsicle stick to smooth out the glue. When doing this part right here, you want to make sure that when you're spreading out your glue with that stick, you want to make sure that it's an even layer because you're going to do this at least twice. Some people do it 3 times. I don't do it 3 times. I do it twice. So that way you can get like a good stick because you don't want your wig to be too wet underneath because it's not going to stay and it's going to be slipping. So when we dry it, make sure that it's clear so that way it's really nice and tacky for you to apply your wig. So I just pop it on and then I'm going to use my edge scarf to tie it down and let it sit for a few minutes to let it fully melt down. When you're tying down your edge scarf, make sure it's not too tight, y'all. Look at me, I was tired. My arms was like killing me, but it was so worth it. So I'm gonna let it sit and here's the final here's the final product, y'all. So now I'm gonna take some concealer to conceal my part just to, you know, define it a little better. I'm gonna mix it with that same foundation shade that I used on my cap and then with the LA Girl Pro Concealer that I just showed y'all. I'm gonna mix the two to conceal my part. I'm just gonna blend it out with a blendy. You know, and sometimes like when doing this part, you wanna make sure like it's nice and good because that gives it that illusion that it's like basically giving scalp, like it's coming out of your head. And there you have it, y'all. So thank you guys so much for watching this video, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. Don't forget to put on that post notification bell so that way you're notified every time I upload a video. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you in the next one.